Well, hello there, everyone. How is everyone today in the group? Today is Witchy Wisdom Wednesday. Hello. Greetings from Austin, Texas. Hope everybody's doing good. Need a drink first before we get started. Hey, Heather's here. Hello, Heather. Thank you for joining us. Glad to see you. And Susan's here. Hey, Susan. How are you, my sister? Thank you for joining us. So we're going to wait for a couple of minutes for people to join because it takes them a little while to get notification that I'm live. I usually try to go live on Wednesdays for Witchy Wisdom Wednesday. So before we start on what we're going to talk about, it's going to be a little bit controversial. So buckle up, get you some coffee, get you some tea, because we're going to hang out and talk a little bit. I would love to know your opinions about this controversial thing that I have been wanting to talk about for a very long time with you, but I've been putting it on the back burner because it's going to, itchy. It's going to probably ruffle some feathers, but sometimes our feathers need to be ruffled in order to grow. So let me introduce myself to the group. We have so many newbies. So hello here. Hello. My name is Madam Z. I am the magical mentor in the Witchy School of Wisdom. I am the owner, magical maker, magical life coach of the group, and I am the headmistress of this wonky wild ride called Witchy School of Wisdom. Okay. So welcome everyone. If you haven't checked out the pin posts and the description or about me kind of tab, check that out because it has all of the information that you need when you're brand new. It has all the descriptions, all of our theme days, all of our freebies, has the links of where you want to work with me at. It has links of all the units, all the workshops, all the freebies. So a good place to start is in the description tab on the side or on the pin post. That'll give you a start of where you guys need to go for all your newbies here. So welcome newbies, old and new. I welcome you to the Witchy School of Wisdom, where we pretty much talk about everything witchy, woo, tarot, crystals, metaphysics, esoteric. We're a lively bunch. We don't really censor ourselves here so much. As long as you are not rude, disrespectful, we kind of welcome everybody. So we are all inclusive and invite everyone in. So, hello. Oh, how's everyone's weather doing today? It was wonderful out today for me. I got to spend some time in the garden again, hanging outside this morning. It was a little bit chilly this morning. But all in all, Austin is really blooming. So we're super excited about that. So let's dive right in. And I am itching like crazy. I don't know why I'm itchy. I think it's because the tree pollen and allergy season in here in Austin. If you don't know about Austin, Austin has horrible allergies, and a lot of people are suffering from allergies. So that's probably why I'm kind of itchy and kind of yuck kind of stuff. So today, does anybody want to talk about anything specific today? I didn't see anything in the comments about what you wanted to talk about, so we're probably just going to talk about what I want to talk about and get the discussion going, because this is the big thing about being in this group, is that we want to discuss, we want to grow our witchy path and to come out of the broom closet and get to thinking about other ways of doing things and getting that the brain kind of out of the whole cycle of normal kind of thinking. We want you to get outside the box. This is the whole reason why I created this group, is to get you to thinking outside of the box and really just being curious about things. So if you are new to the group, or if you are in the group, say hello, say hi. If you're watching the replay, hit hashtag replay for me, and I will answer all questions if you are watching the replay. So I don't forget about my replay folks. Sometimes they can't come in and the time that I have it scheduled, but I don't forget about you. I always respond, so make sure you hit hashtag replay. So let's jump right in to this controversial type of subject today that we're going to be oh, Mariah's got to come back. Yeah, she's got a wonky computer, so Mariah's coming back. She's going to log back out and come back in. So today we are going to talk about trigger warnings and what I think about trigger warnings and how I feel trigger warning. Well, it's a new thing. I'm old school, so I never was raised on trigger warnings. But we're going to talk about how I feel about trigger warnings, and I want you guys to chime in. So let's sit back and talk about trigger warnings. Here is my school of thought about trigger warnings and why it is important that we don't have trigger warnings. Stop with the trigger warnings. And this is why it is important that you become stronger as a witch, stronger in your your craft, stronger in your path, is because we know stuff irritates us. We know we've all been through some stuff. We know that our life is, hey Liz, we know that our life is not pleasant all the time. We all know what it's like to be women and to be, not in the best of circumstances or best of situations. We all know this. But trigger warnings get on my damn nerves. And the reason is trigger warnings get on my nerves is because that person who puts the whole thing up of warning, trigger warning, is doing that person who's trying to heal a huge disservice. They're already, by reading that, they're already looking and triggering their mind to set them up for fear-based experience. They already know that, all right, if I continue this, it's going to trigger something that haven't healed yet, and I am just setting yourself up to just really go back into that space. And it is doing a huge disservice for women or people, or, not even gender, male or female kind of thing, just people in general, who have the power to change their circumstances, have their power to say, hey, I don't want to watch this anymore. Hey, I feel like I'm not ready and I'm going to change the channel, or I don't want to continue reading. Or how about, hey, let me decide for myself if I have healed enough for myself to continue on this journey of what this person has to post or video or whatever it is. So it's, how do you guys feel about trigger warnings? Because I feel that with trigger warnings, it is just setting the people up for failure and not taking their power back to what they feel is going to trigger them. And here's the thing. If a person have went through a horrible type of situation, whatever it is, they have a right to heal themselves, and they have a right to seek help to heal themselves, and they have a right to be powerful and heal that and step into their power. Okay? Now, when you put a trigger warning on something, you are enabling them and taking that power back from them. And who's to say that, they've been in therapy, or you've been working on yourself, doing shadow work or whatever for months, and stuff used to trigger you, but then you've been working on yourself for so long that that stuff no longer triggers you, or it doesn't trigger you as much, because you started healing, you started acclimating, you started healing that wound and closing that gaping wound. So when you say trigger warning on the following kind of thing, you are really taking the power back from that woman or that person when it comes to healing themselves. Let them decide for themselves if they want to continue in the experience with reading the article, watching the blurb, or watching the video. Let them take the power in their life back to decide if they want to move forward in that experience or not. Because here's the thing, and I try to be compassionate and I try to be understanding for people. But sometimes the society's gotten out of control with this whole trigger warning. Because I'm going to tell you the truth of the matter. I'm going to tell you the truth right now. I have been in this practice for 20 years, and I have worked on myself for 20-something years, and have worked with women. If you are here, please say hello, because I don't know who's here, because I know some people will join. Hi, Tanya. So give me some hearts and thumbs up. So I've worked with people who have really been through some crap, and they've really released some stuff, especially during ritual. I run women's circles. I run empowerment meetings in leadership, and I do goddess retreats, and I have seen women really transform their lives when it comes to women's work. But we let them step forward. For example, when I'm doing the goddess retreat, I honor every aspect of a woman, from maiden, mother to crone. And that includes our first bleeding, that we never actually had to honor that, or anybody who has had a child or lost a child. And that doesn't mean like a death. That means through voluntary, involuntary type of situations where you have lost a child, because that child is, even though you've lost that child never leaves you, or the energy never leaves you. And that needs to be honored. And a lot of times we don't honor our experience as women. And holding space and holding that pillar up for that woman as she steps forward into that feminine energy to release the healing and the hurt that she has been holding on to for many, many years is tough. I've seen it. I've been in ritual where there wasn't a dry eye at all, even through the whole 4 days of being in ritual. So it is important for that person, as part of their healing, to take their power back and step forward and say, yes, I am ready to heal. And this is why it is so important that you become so strong in your craft as a witch, as a pagan, as earth-based centered, as women, feminine energy, is because we are more powerful than what the words are telling us that, hey, it's a trigger warning. Once you start working on yourself and you start working on healing that wound, that trigger warning, hey Maria, that trigger warning doesn't affect you as much as it used to when the wound was raw. But let us decide for ourselves to go through that experience, because I'm here to tell you, you cannot go through life without some traumatic crap happening to you. Whether it's not, you can go into work and you can be out of a job by the end of the day. And I'm going to tell you, life is not going to give you a trigger warning for that. You can be walking down the street and some person is going to come in here and be in your space and, not respect your boundaries. Well, life's not going to wake you up with Alexa and say, hey, today's a trigger warning, stay in bed. You have to experience this stuff as yourself, as your authentic self, so you can grow and you can learn and you can move forward and be stronger than what you are. And so you can cope and deal with life. I know this is controversial. I know this is, and I've been struggling with this for a long time about talking about it. But the goddess has told me time and time again, Susie, you need to talk about this. You need to talk about trigger warnings. It's tough. I'm not going to tell you it's tough, but freaking life is tough. And that's when you start to look at yourself and healing yourself and taking your power back and not letting other people tell you, hey, this is a trigger warning, you can't read this. Or setting your mind up to automatically go back to that place of hurt and of wounding type of energy. And we all do it. Can you raise your hand? Raise your hand if you've been through some shit in your life that you should be like, I'm surprised I'm even alive. I'm surprised that I'm not even like in a mental institution in a padded room because I've been through some shit. I know I have. But as my mom says, and my grandmother used to say, you don't know how strong, a woman is like a tea bag. You don't know how strong it is until you put her in hot water. We are stronger than what we think we are. So I don't care about trigger warnings. You can send trigger warnings to me all day long. Once I get to that point where it irritates me or I feel something come up, I automatically leave. And then if I feel the urge, I will start journaling. I will start meditating. I will start writing down, why am I still triggered? What about this article? What about this situation has triggered me again? That just means you haven't done all the healing and you still have to work on yourself. And that comes with being empowered as a female and empowered as a badass witch, really. And once you start healing and getting through it, you will find out that the triggers aren't as often or aren't as raw or aren't as deep, but it takes a while. It takes a long time. Life is full of lessons. Life is not all lollipop and candy cane, for sure. I'll tell you that right now. It's been tough for all of us, for all women. It has been tough for us. But because we are so in tune with ourselves and the cycles of the earth and who we are and our mother wound, our witch wound, which is huge, our daughter wound, our father wound, all of those are so important to us that we heal and we release. So these trigger warnings don't bother us as much as people think they should. So whatever happened to the day, and I'm, like I said, I'm old school. So whatever happened to the day of, like, if you don't like it, change the channel. If you don't like what you have the power to change where you're at, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're absorbing, who you're around, what your environment is. You have the power to change all of this. It is called boundaries. Now, just a side note, you know how everybody's like, oh, I hate Facebook. It's all about politics and it's all about doom and destruction and I can't stand it, blah, 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 blah. I get that because I'm at the point where I don't watch the news because it's so bad for me because it just boils me up, right? And my boyfriend Blair is like, man, you need to be informed. And I'm on a higher level than him because I'm like, I'm informed more than you think I'm informed, or more than anybody thinks I'm informed, because you don't understand what the higher intention is or what is happening. It's all a plan. So it kind of just goes along with the plan, right? And I don't need to know what's going on to know what is going to be happening, because it's all there. It's all written out. You just have to tap into it, and you have to be open to it. So I don't watch the news because it does trigger me and it does piss me off. So what I have done, though, is say, you know what, Facebook, I'm working on my algorithms. I have worked about a year on all my algorithms, so I don't see all that crap in my Facebook feed. All I see is light and love and witchy and metaphysical stuff and empowering stuff, and stuff that's moving me forward and subconsciously getting into my mind to raise my energy. So I took it upon myself to change the relationship I have with Facebook. And there's no trigger warnings for me anymore. I don't care about your trigger warnings. A matter of fact, bring it on, because I have the power to change it. I have the power to heal it. I have the power to say, hey, I'm out of here. I disagree with you, or let's talk about it. Why do you feel that way? So you have a voice. Don't think that you don't have a voice in your life. Don't think that you don't have a voice in your circumstances. Don't think you don't have the ability to change it, because you do. Is everybody on board? Does everybody hear me? I know I'm rambling. How do y'all feel about that? Is it kind of touchy for you guys? Am I getting through? Is it kind of like trigger warning for you guys? Right? I told you it's going to be a tough subject today. It's not going to be all light and love today. Although I do love y'all, but sometimes we have to have the tower moments. It's like we were talking about tarot decks and how some people don't like Doreen Virtue tarot decks. And I thank you for the hearts. And I have lots of Doreen Virtue tarot decks because I've tried to connect with them so much. But I am a traditional Rider-Waite chick. And I have tried so hard to connect with Doreen Virtue decks. But although Doreen Virtue is a whole other story. This is Doreen Virtue. I had her decks before she, whatever, had her thing. Had her come to Jesus thing. But it was too fluffy bunny for me. Her decks weren't real enough for me. If I'm having or about to have a tower moment, I need to know what a tower moment is about to happen. If I'm pulling a death card every day, I need to know that transformation is coming and it's going to be big. I don't need someone to lighten it up for me. And my clients don't need that either. They need to know the raw truth so they can change it. They are truthful about it and they can say, all right, this is about to happen. I need to make some changes in my life. If I don't, then I'm going down the wrong path and I'm wasting my time and my energy. And that is exactly the difference between trigger warnings and non-trigger warnings. So that's the difference. We were talking about Doreen Virtue and tarot decks. That is why I need to know the rough parts of my life. It's not all, like I said, lollipops and candy canes. You're not going to be happy all the time. You're not going to go through life just without any trials or tribulations. How are you going to grow as a person if you don't have a situation that's unpleasant that's going to catapult you into that type of situation where you were like, I grew from that. I am stronger from that. I am empowered because of that. I mean, I've been in some shitty situations. I've had job losses. I've had jacked up relationships. But and I've been in situations where I shouldn't have been in situations as a woman, for sure. That's for sure. But do I say that I'm living in victimhood? No. I've never, ever tell my clients or live in victimhood mentality. You can feel sorry for yourself and you can be okay with it for, all right, whatever you need to do to get past it, but you are never, ever, and listen to me, you are never a victim of your circumstances. Ever a victim. You are learning from that experience to make you stronger and powerful and more enlightened. I guarantee you, if you live in victimhood, that person has more power over you in that moment than the rest of your life than you are giving yourself. And that person's already moved on. Trust me, they don't care. You think if you lost your job tomorrow that the corporation is going to be crying because you're not there working? They don't give a crap about you. They don't. Everybody is replaceable in the corporate America. Trust me, you are. You're the one who's living in victimhood and not choosing to learn from that and to heal from that and make it a powerful type of exchange or energy healing to move. Because trust me, in the long run, for instance, if you lose your job, that's the universe saying, hey, you need to move on to another position where they treat you better, you get better pay, you are more fulfilled, you are valued as an employee, and you can make a difference. So if you're living in victimhood mentality, you don't see the positive spin on things. And it's important that you take control of that situation and look at the positive that is coming through in your life. And I'm not saying that you're not validated because, oh, everybody's validated. Everybody needs to be heard. But there comes a point in time when in your life where you're like, all right, you've been in this for 3 months. What are you going to do to change your mind? What are you going to do to change your energy? What are you going to do to change your circumstances? Because you can't be in that victimhood mentality your entire life. You will never, ever get to where you're supposed to be if you live your life in victimhood. Okay? Everybody has something horrible that has happened to them. Everybody has a story. And maybe that is what is important, and that's what the universe wants you to do, is share your fucking story. Share it with somebody. Tell them how horrible it was that you went through this and that you came out of this and you're stronger. You changed your life, either if it's an addiction or rehab or whatever it is, and stand up on your podium and speak and uplift these women. Maybe that's what your calling is. Maybe that's what you need to do as far as letting go of the victimhood and the whole trigger warning kind of crap thing. As something triggers you, that just means that you haven't healed yet. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing or a good thing. That's what I'm saying. Triggers are not necessarily a bad thing. They treat it as a bad thing. It is an opportunity to heal the wound that you have not yet healed. It's an opportunity to take your power back. It's not a bad thing. It is just showing you that you need to work on yourself a little bit more. And that's not a bad thing. We all need to work on ourselves some more. I got trigger stuff that irritates the shit out of me. But I have to sit there and say, okay, why does this person or why does this situation irritate me so much? What is the root of this that is irritating to me that I need to heal within myself? That's really what trigger is. And when they give you a trigger warning, it's like they don't give you the power to make that decision and to heal. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? What are your thoughts on that? If you're still here, kind of like type in the thoughts on that. You're like, Susie, I thought this is like a fun group. Sometimes we have to hear the truth. Right? Oh, I gotta catch up on comments. Now Facebook shows. Okay, let me catch up on comments. Elizabeth, hi Elizabeth. I hear you just listening. Good, listening's good. Today we had an in-depth conversation on race and at my work, and so many people were triggered. Yeah, I get very upset with social injustice. Hugely upset with that, to the point where I'm like, I have got to remove myself from this situation, or I have got to speak out because this is unfair to this person. You are not representing this, and what you said is rude and hurtful and mean. So either I have to remove myself from the situation, or I'm going to cut someone, or I have to stand up and voice my opinion. But that is passion. That's not like triggering. That, I hate that word, triggering. That is a calling for you to stand up and do what's right. It's not a trigger warning. It's an internal thing for you to say, hey, chick, why are you sitting down? You need to stand up for this person. You know this is not right. That is the universe and God is telling you, where is the warrior inside you that needs to come out for these people? That's all that is. It's not like, oh, I need to heal this. It is Athena and all of the warrior goddesses telling you, chick, stand up for injustice. Get your voice heard. Because there's lots of women out there who don't have the strength yet to do it. And we do, but we aren't letting our voices being heard. So we need to step up. And Susan was, yes, sugarcoating doesn't help. It doesn't help. I mean, the only sugarcoating really you need is on cookies. And I'm not handing out cookies today. What is that saying? What is it? You have a choice of lollipops or whoop ass, and I'm not handing out any lollipops today or something. I don't know what that. It seems like it was some kind of WWE or some kind of thing they used to say. Hey, Kim. So, Elizabeth, I think for me, It is how people approach these topics than the topic itself. When people approach difficult conversation and topics from a place of love or learning, or at least respectfully engaging, I think it can make all the difference. Very true. I find myself on my own path of recovery that sometimes certain setbacks happen and PTSD sets in. That is true too. But it's usually around people treating me in such a way that is reminiscent of previous trauma. Yes, I agree with that. It all comes in the form of delivery. That is true. If you're coming from a place of healing, a place of love, instead of a place of argumentative, a place of ego, a place of that you have to be right all the time, or a place of judgmental, that person's not going to heal. That person is going to totally shut down. You need to come to these people with a place of understanding, because you've been there. You know how hard it is to heal that wound and to pick yourself up. Because I remember one of my toughest ones that I went through, I wasn't married until I was 35. And we were married for 5 months, and I couldn't deal with it. So I was like, you got to go. I can't deal with this anymore. But one of the devastating things was the divorce for me, because I waited so long to find my life partner. And then I had to kick his ass out in 5 months because he was acting a doggone fool, and I wasn't dealing with it. But that was one of the most depressive times in my life, is trying to go to work every day knowing that I was going through this huge divorce, and my life and my future fucking just, changed. This is not what I signed up for. So we have to come from a place of understanding, a place of love, a place of growth, and instead of trying to tear down each other, and a place instead of just judgmental. Because I'm telling you, and it comes from a lot of mother-daughter stuff, or at least it does for me sometimes, is that my mother didn't have a lot of women friends or close women friends, because of the thing she would always say was, women are just catty. Women are the worst enemies. Women, will do this and do that. So it's kind of ingrained in me not to have a lot of women friends. So that is something I had to heal. So, but that was passed down from probably my grandmother to her to me. So that is something that I had to work on and I had to heal. And as women, we need to lift each other up instead of tearing each other down, right? And Elizabeth is, but on that, it's up to me to sit in the place and be upset, or do things to slowly work on myself out of the hole again. Yes, true. Stand up and do what's right. Yeah. Yeah, which that's sometimes easier than said and done, but still needs to happen. Yes, it is easier said than done, for sure. But you have to take responsibility for yourself and your own healing. Nobody's going to heal you except you. You have to do the freaking hard work. And I'm telling you, that's why I say inner shadow work that I teach with my clients, the witching that I do, and the healing and the circles that I do with women are tough. This is what I call women's work. And I call it women's work because it is the toughest work you will ever do on yourself, is heal yourself. And that is why it's called, I always say, witching ain't easy, because it's not all the time. Witching is not all about setting up altars, and it's not all about lotions. Oh, you could make lotions. It's not all about potions and spell work. Being a true witch is about healing, empowering yourself, and taking your life back. And it's fucking tough. I'm not going to lie and tell you that it's fun. It looks cool in the movies. It looks all magical and wonderful and spooky, but it's freaking work. It is true work. And I'm not going to lie, it's not easy all the time. Hey, Kim. Hey, Amanda. Your mom said the same too? Still struggling out. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking. That's why when I have this retreat that's coming up, we are going to be doing a healing a mother-daughter wound ceremony that I'm working with another high priestess on. So writing that up for you, because there's a lot of stuff that we need to heal in our mother lineage that needs to be cut and needs to be healed. And a lot of that comes from being in victimhood from their generation, because we are blessed now to live in a society that women are now, we're here. We have arrived, friends. Whether you like it or not, we are here. We are loud. We are proud. We are witchy, and we ain't going to take it no more. So hear the voices of women, because we're about to say some stuff. And they didn't have that back then, that opportunity back then to be as loud and proud. And to, you know, the wheel is turning, right? The wheel is turning. I was in Sister Circle, the Global Sisterhood Circle last March. No, beginning of this March. Yeah, Sisterhood. Global Sisterhood, and we were talking about patriarchy and all that kind of stuff. And she said something profound. She said that I almost take the whole patriarchy, fighting the patriarchy kind of thing, as something we don't need to fight. She's like, I take it and compare it to analog versus, what's that other one? Digital, or whatever it is. It's an archaic system, and it will go by the wayside eventually. So there's no need in fighting it. There's no need in trying to go against the grain with it. It's eventually going to drop off because it is no longer needed. It is no longer wanted. It's not going to be productive. And so I thought that was a really interesting type of analogy that she came up with about fighting the patriarchate kind of society. So I thought that was pretty cool. So enough about my whole trigger warning thing. I'm really saying this out of really empowering you guys. I'm not trying to be mean or hateful about it, because you know me, I come from a place of love and empowering. And nothing irks me more than anything when I see the potential of a woman. And I know, because I have an innate sense of this stuff. This is what I do for a living. I know stuff. I see stuff. I can see what the potential is and what you're going to be if you would just get out of your own way and just heal yourself. But nothing irks me more than a woman who is so powerful. She doesn't know it, and she won't tap into that, and she falls back into victimhood. Because I know how strong this woman is, and I want her so badly to step into her own power and to be an example for someone else who is struggling. But I can't I can't do that for that person. I can't make her make that decision for herself. That's her own journey, and that's the whole thing about trigger warnings. How dare you take away my journey of learning, of healing away from me with this stupid trigger warning? Let me decide and find out if I can handle it or if I can't. And don't automatically put me in a space when I read the words trigger warning that, oh God, I got to be ready. I'm already on the defense because I already already read it. Don't do that to people. Stop with that crap. Let them find their own healing and their own journey themselves. And let's not try to do the trigger warnings anymore. It's not helping anybody to heal. Let them take their power back. Throat chakra. Let's see if I can catch up on comments. Hey, Melissa. So, it is 7:39. Does anybody have any questions? Now, I do have, how do you feel about this, though? What is coming up for you during their talk? Because it is not my normal kind of talk. I'm usually very light, but the goddess has been talking to me for a couple months now, wanting to talk about this and get this out in the group. And I'm like, no, goddess, they're not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And they're not ready. I mean, I'm ready. I'll speak about it all day long. But sometimes you guys aren't ready for it. And that's the whole thing about, you know, how dare I tell you if you're ready or you're not ready. That's not my place to tell you. My place is to give you messages from the divine. My place is to empower you as a witchy wild woman and to bring your voice back. That is my job. My job is not to decide if you're ready to hear this or not. That's something you need to decide. My job is just to be the vessel to just deliver it, really. That's all I'm here for. I'm just a vessel, use me. Okay, so I have a couple one-on-one spots available. They're going super fast if you want to work with me. I'm only taking 3, and I only have maybe 1 or 2 spots left. Not a whole lot, because I only like to work with 3 one-on-one clients at a time. So if this is something that is near and dear to your heart, you want to start working on your triggers, you want to start being more powerful, you want to start working with divine feminine energy, I invite you to work with me one-on-one for 3 months. And we will change the way you think at things, the way you look at your life, the way you look at yourself. We will do healing ceremonies if you need to look at what needs to be healed. So I invite you to send me a message and work with me for 3 months. And let's get started on healing some of these wounds for you. So those trigger, stupid warnings aren't going to trigger you anymore. You're like, trigger warnings. Bye, Felicia. I ain't got time for no trigger warnings. Right? That's how you're like, I'm living my most magical life. I don't even have space for trigger warnings anymore, because I'm out here hanging out with the divine feminine. So that's where I want you guys to be at. So send me a message if you want to work with me one-on-one. I have a couple spots open. And let's get you moving past your blocks and get you into the healing, powerful type of goddess energy. All right, I will see you in the group. And like I said, if you have any questions, just send me a message. Loves and hugs, everyone, and witch on.